Namaste and welcome everyone. My name is Sanket and you're watching FPL Boot Room, your source for fantasy Premier League content and everything else revolving around Premier League and the world of football. I hope the coronavirus pandemic has been relatively kind to you and your loved ones, but I'm very sure that you're all buzzing for the restart of the Premier League action. And with the return of Premier League action, we're gonna win the league. We're gonna win the league. And now you're gonna believe us. Okay, I better keep my Liverpool bias aside. So, with the return of Premier League is also the joy of having Fantasy Premier League back. There has been an update by the Fantasy Premier League official website that states that there has been a nomenclature change as far as the game weeks are concerned. So the game week that starts from 17th of June onwards will be called game week 30 plus, and then 31 plus, 32 plus, and so on and so forth. So that is how it's going to work. Besides that, there has been a confirmation to something that which we already knew about. That is, it's going to be a double game week for teams like Aston Villa, Sheffield United, Arsenal, and Manchester City. So some way to come back in action for the Fantasy Premier League. Besides that, there has been mixed emotions with this particular announcement that I'm going to be sharing right now. That is the prospect and the opportunity for all the FPL managers to make unlimited transfers without any minus points ahead of Project Restart. But alongside the transfers, we will also be able to use one of those chips that we are left with. So I will be personally going on with the bench boost as things stand right now, but we will come back to that later. One last update regarding this Project Restart has been that there won't be any price changes as long as the first deadline is not passed. So let's treat it like when the season starts and the player prices remain fixed. So this is the update that we have, and that has got the FPL community buzzing. Moving on, I've made a list of few key pointers and what to expect from the Project Restart. So I would like to share it with my listeners, and here's a list of what to expect from the upcoming action. So first and foremost, there is going to be a reduction in the home advantage for teams that used to literally kill it at their own backyard. We already know the impact that Selhurst Park or Turf Moor or Vicarage Road or even Anfield makes when the other teams visit these stadiums. So we are not going to see fans in the stadium, although there has been talks that they might be adding the FIFA crowd noises, but I'm not sure if that is going to create an atmosphere as hostile as these fans could at these stadiums that I mentioned. So we have to make sure that we do not look too much into the home and away fixtures. And perhaps an example for all of you would be the first week when the Bundesliga returned, when only one team out of the 9 fixtures won their clash at their home. So we might as well know what to expect from these home and away scenario. Moving on, the next point is about the substitutions. Now, there is going to be 5 substitutions instead of the usual 3, which means a lot of players that we own might come up with a solitary 1 point, and that is going to hurt really, really bad. But because there is going to be so many substitutions available for the managers, I'm sure teams with a deep bench strength is definitely going to explore those options. So that is something that we need to prepare for. Moving on, I am personally expecting relatively more injuries. I know it doesn't sound good. We do not pray this to our players, but maybe because of the lack of contact training or perhaps the quick turnaround between matches, I am expecting those muscular niggles and injuries to players, which might see the depth of our FPL bench being tested. Moving on, another factor that I'm considering is the prospect of having more rotations than usual. Now, injuries do play an important role in this rotation factor, but besides that, I also feel that there is so little gap between 2 match weeks in some of the fixtures that you might go across on the FPL website. That makes me think that players might see themselves rotated more than usual. Also, for teams that do not have a lot to play for in the Premier League, they will be looking to give opportunities to their fringe players, perhaps, or maybe the youth brigade. So let's get ready for more rotation, I would say. And lastly, but more importantly, let's get ready for early deadlines, which means that by our standards, the Indian Standard Time, the deadlines are going to be 12:30 in the noon. But this is going to be something new, and let's make sure we do not keep sleeping through the noon and miss out on the deadline. Also, I've prepared a few pointers that I would like to share with my friends, a few squad selection tips that is going through my head and what I've gathered from fellow pundits. So the first and foremost, I would like to suggest that we should avoid injury-prone players. For example, the likes of Anthony Martial or Luke Shaw or Theo Walcott. Now, we have to agree that these players can give explosive returns when they are on the pitch, but because there is going to be very little being given out in the training, in the press conferences, as well as small turnaround time between the matches, I would personally rather steer clear of injury-prone players. So the next point is avoiding players on the beach. Now, this term, the beach team, is a very famous and popular term amongst the FPL community. And what this means is to avoid players from the teams that have nothing to compete or play for the rest of the season. So they are spending their time, getting a tan on the beach, metaphorically. So teams that are ranked 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th in the Premier League are the teams that do not have either the European spots to chase or a relegation battle to take part in. And those are the teams that have nothing to play for. So instead of those teams, maybe going for the teams that have a lot riding on their season. For example, the Manchester United squad that are chasing that top 4 slot. Another interesting thing that I noted from this video by the FPL family, which spoke about the number of fixtures remaining for teams that are about to play fellow top 6 teams as well as relegation candidates. So an interesting point noted there was with Arsenal, who are left with 9 games, but 8 of those games, 4 each, are yet to be played against fellow top 6 opponents or relegation battlers. So these encounters will be the close-fought ones. And if you contrast it with perhaps a Wolves team, who are left with just 1 game against a top 6 opponent and 3 games against relegation candidates. So that gives you 4 games out of 9 games that have something to fight for both the teams. But the other 5 games, we would expect the beach teams to succumb to the pressure of Wolves, perhaps. So this is something that I would like you to keep in mind. Moving on, another brilliant point made by Gianni Buttis on Twitter, who spoke about players who make a quick impact. Right at the start of the season, we had Timo Pukki, Sergio Aguero, Mason Mount starting the season in a brilliant fashion, and we can expect them to hit the ground running yet again when the Premier League action restarts. So we should keep an eye on those kind of players, perhaps. Another important thing is to look at players who are nailed on, and when I say nailed on, it doesn't just mean nailed on starters, but also players who are due to play the entire 90 minutes for their team. One example that strikes my mind is perhaps a Virgil van Dijk over Trent Alexander-Arnold or Andy Roberts. But only time is going to tell how that's going to work out. Another important and perhaps the most exciting tip that I have, and it's not something new, it's already all across the Fantasy Premier League community, that how do we proceed the double game week 30 plus. So some of the players are preferring for free hit in that week, and then perhaps they're happy with their squad and get back to their squad and perhaps use a wild card later on. Another important strategy that I personally might be deploying most probably would be the bench boost strategy in game week 30 plus. With unlimited transfers, I can get in 15 players, and out of those 15 players, perhaps 7 to 8 or maybe 10 players that have double game weeks. and then try to capitalize on that strategy. So we will discuss the player selections in the next video, but this is something that you need to look at going into the first week of Project Restart. And most importantly, the FPL squad depth is going to be key. Just like the bench strength on the pitch, the FPL squad depth is going to save you from those rotation troubles, from those injury troubles, and those unpredictable omissions from the team squad. So let's make sure, and when I say FPL squad depth, I am going to share my team with you, which will make you understand why I am begging for that. Because if you look at my squad, I have Button, who just doesn't play, Simpson, who doesn't play. Then we have Reed, who's apparently on loan to Kansas City, and I don't know what he's doing in my team, but he's an enabler here. Then we have another problem in the name of Hayden, who has been in and out of the team prior to the break that Premier League went into. So I'm not really sure about Hayden either. So this gives me exactly 11 players who are certain to start for the team. And that is a thin ice that I'm walking on. So I would rather look to improve this particular aspect of my team. And I think all of us will benefit from having a deeper bench going ahead for the Project Restart. Now, enough of these pointers for you. I would like to just take you through my personal account of FPL this season. That has been an underwhelming season by my standards, to be honest, but I'm still hoping to make it to a top 100,000 finish within these remainder of 9 game weeks. So I stand at around 345,000 rank, and I would also like to share my previous ranks. Now, last season was a decent season for me where I finished under 100,000, and the season before that, which was the 2017-18 season, was a personal favorite for me, wherein I finished under 2,000 with a rank of 1,735. So this is just to build a credibility with my followers, although we're all passionate for the game, and I'm sure within these discussions we might be able to help each other either way. Lastly, I would thank you all for listening, going through this video. I hope you like it, and I am looking forward to listening from you. How can we make it better? Perhaps what aspect of this you like, perhaps what problems you are facing with your team, and maybe we can discuss it in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm new. Your help means the world for me, and if you like the video, make sure to like it. Thank you so much once again. Have a nice day ahead. Cheers. Keep rocking.